What's up, TIW Mafia? Take two.
Here we go.
With the Irish Whip hanging out with Big Joe. We're going to talk some wrestling. We're going to talk some music. We're going to talk some lots of things. Joe's wearing a nice Shoot First shirt. They stole that from Han Solo, by the way.
That's actually, they may have, but it was a line from Firefly.
Yeah, which came about 30 years after.
I know, but this shirt was done a few years ago for charity. It was all done for charity with this shirt, so
they stole for charity.
It's kind of like not stealing, it's like procuring.
No. The Han Solo shot first. Everyone knows that. He shot Greedo in episode 4.
Different timeline, though. Different timeline in this.
Well, yeah, because if Firefly came first, then they wouldn't have stolen it from Star Wars. So, yeah.
Well, just say they borrowed it.
Did they have any original ideas, or was the whole show like a tribute to Star Wars?
No, it was original.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it. A little bit here and there.
Oh, my God.
Does it make you smell something funny?
Yeah, your dog.
You can't help it. He's just a baby.
What are you feeding him?
Limited ingredient salmon, and just want a salmon and
He might be allergic
potato.
to that, too.
No, they say that's good.
He might be allergic to that.
I don't know. We'll soon find out.
You know, we're in a small room here.
This is like a little chamber we're in.
And there's no windows.
No windows. Well, but it don't open. The door. It don't open.
We can't.
And you're stuck in the corner, so.
It doesn't matter. You're closer to him than I am.
Oh yeah, well, I'm used to it though. All right, let's get off the stinky dog and move on to something else. Wrestling.
It's pretty distracting.
I know.
Young Rock finale is, depending on when you're watching it, today is Tuesday, May 24th. Actually, happy birthday to my godson, Patrick. Tomorrow
Nice.
he turns 5 years old, 525.
Yeah, happy
Patrick's
birthday.
my little man, and it's something to be loved so unconditionally by somebody. Like, I was just talking to my buddy Joey. It's his son.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember when he was like 2 years old and didn't want to be bothered with me. And the first time he sat with me was because he was eating his birthday cake at his second birthday off of my plate.
There you go.
And now, like, I walk in the house and it's JP, and he runs up and I get a big hug. Like, that's crazy. Like, that someone loves me that much, you know? So, shout out to him for his 5th birthday. He'll be listening.
Have him and Joey in the studio.
Get rid of the stinky dog, and they might.
Hey. Maybe we'll make him wait out in the hallway.
And thoughts and prayers out to the people in Texas today, too, with that mass shooting.
That school shooting.
The kid killed his grandmother, stole the gun from his grandmother, killed her, and then went in and killed, I think, 18 in the school, including a teacher.
And then he was subsequently shot by the police.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah, they should just keep shooting him.
Earth might be a better place now.
Yeah. Just sad he had to take a bunch of people with him.
Yeah, and people, man, this is sad, but I love this story so much that I think I got to tell it. Like, there was a kid from South Boston, Dwayne Leotti, from Old Colony Projects. He killed himself. Me and him at one point worked with the electricians union. We were like the helpers, and he was done. He had been laid off already because the job was winding down. I was still left on the job, and he hung himself. Something happened in his personal life that I won't get into because it's neither here nor there. And one of the electricians, who didn't grow up in the city, definitely grew up in the suburbs somewhere, said something along the lines of, well, at least he didn't shoot up a whole McDonald's. And he got mad at me because I responded, well, I think the mass shooters prefer Burger King. My point being is, whether one person goes down or 18 people go down, other people's lives are affected. My life was affected by that, you know.
Absolutely.
So, and he got, that particular electrician got all, I'll say, pissy with me over me saying that. And he had no idea why I said it, but this was in a time when, Joe, me and you both lost a lot of people in a couple of years.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me,
different illnesses.
And for me, I wasn't here, so it was hard.
Right, you were over.
It was hard.
Yep. You were out battling wars.
And it started with Andrew McDonough.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Everyone, everyone.
So-
I remember growing up, everyone thinking he's a bully. But he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
You know? And then,
Well, he was a bully growing up,
well,
but
he was.
but obviously he had some mental issues.
But he no, well,
And-
he was killed. He wasn't.
No?
he was killed.
Was he?
Yep, he went to the wrong house for a party,
Oh,
and then they came out
yes,
and beat him
yes, the shod foot.
up. Yep.
That was when I found out a shod foot. Like if you're gonna kick someone, take your shoe off,
Mhm.
because a shod foot is a deadly weapon.
Yep.
A foot is just assault and battery.
Yep. And
Oh yeah,
So remember that
people were getting arrested that day on purpose.
Yeah.
Like they were literally getting arrested just to be in the hoping they'd get in the holding cell with the guy who did that.
Yeah. There was a group of them,
Yeah,
but that I got that letter sent to me while I was in boot camp, and it just crushed me. Because granted, I wasn't didn't hang out with him very much. He was part of the older
Yeah.
crowd. But
I didn't know
his
him.
sister was
I
in my
knew.
group. You know
Yeah,
him.
so I knew the sister,
Yep.
and I was actually thinking of someone else when you said Andrew.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the kid's name I was thinking of, but that was someone that hung themselves. And,
Yeah, I know. I know.
there was another. It was another Mick name.
Yeah.
Might have been McDonough actually, but yeah, neither here nor there. Like,
Yeah.
so thoughts and prayers to those people in Texas and like all your families
And thoughts and prayers still go out to the families of
Of
the people we
those,
know.
yeah.
That, granted, this was 30
Always.
years ago.
always. Yeah,
You know, it's tough to hear of a friend doing that, and for me personally, looking the way the society goes, and I've realized throughout my life that as you get older, those friends
hmm
turn into people you know, as opposed to
right.
friends. If you break friends down to really what
Right.
it means, you know.
I mean, me and you had a lot of, both had in different groups had
yeah,
a lot of friends growing
Mhm.
up,
and
and now I have a lot of people I knew.
exactly. But the sentiment is still there. If one of them went down, we'd rally up.
It's just like we both knew a lot of gangsters, and now we know a lot of authors.
Yeah, exactly. And but like even if one of those people that are in the category of people I know
Right.
went down, we'd rally up.
Yeah.
You know, it's
yeah.
still the same feeling.
I mean, our groups in Southie used to fight with each other until the group from Charlestown came in.
Yep. And then the Savin Hill kids came in.
Yep.
The Quincy kids tried to come in.
Yeah, they never stood a chance.
Oh,
As we're in QATP on Quintus Access.
remember that? What was the club?
That was a long time ago, though. I have a lot of respect for everybody in Quincy and all the residents of Quincy.
Your residents, you know. And what was that nightclub that was 18 over?
Oh, the Bahama Beach Club.
Bahama Beach Club. No, there was that was
Shout out to Randy Graley.
that was in Marina Bay. What's the one that's near that was built into the Lantana?
Oh, I don't know.
It's still there.
So Lombardo's?
Lombardo's, but then there was another. It had a different name when they went 18
I
over.
don't know.
But anyway, that's where we met up, and when we got there, all our groups went. Because I remember with Sean and you being there at
Yeah.
the Pizza Hut. You guys went in and got pizza. As we're walking up, and then
Yeah, and I wasn't a fighter,
yeah,
but I showed up.
there's only one kid from the Quincy group that stood up, and I think I don't want to mix names, so I'm not going to say who it was,
Right.
but one person from our group that was one of the tougher of the group went in there, and you know how hard you knock on a door when you know they can't hear you? It was like 2 or 3, 4 knocks, and you know, then and that was it. And we got on the train and went home.
Yeah, or the big one I remember was the Teachers Union Hall, the Jammin' 94.5 concert
Yeah,
with the Fun Boys
I think that's when I was away.
playing. It might have
I
been.
think that was by the time I went.
PM Dawn opened up. Oh no, sorry. PM Dawn was the headliner. The Four Fun was the Fun Boys, the Southie boy band that did some stuff. Shout out Jimmy,
Yeah,
all of them. And I don't know what happened. Somebody in the audience ran their mouth about Four Fun, and one of your group actually heard it. My group, I was with a smaller group at that point, but they all started brawling, and all of a sudden, all you see is the big dude from PM Dawn start getting in between people, breaking the fight up.
Well, yeah, that was definitely when I was gone, because I was...
that was one of the crazier ones I saw.
I was going in 92, right out of high school.
Yeah, so you were definitely, because that's when Jimmy and John and Louie and them were doing their thing.
I'd love to have seen when...
Did you go to any of the 4 Fun concerts?
Oh, yeah, I went to a few.
I'm in one of the videos.
The record release party.
Yeah, I'm in that. So
I did security for them for a couple shows, small shows.
They filmed one of the videos They filmed one of the videos for "You Can't Play Me" at the record release party, and you can see me in the audience.
I did security for them for a couple small shows. The one down in Downtown Crossing.
Okay, you and Tommy.
Me, Tommy, my brother John, and someone else, and we just were there, and they were like, "Hey." Tommy's like, "Hey, stand here." You know?
Yeah, no, they were good. Like Jimmy can still sing.
Oh yeah, and it's the thing. Like an incident happened. We're not going to get into that incident where kind of put the breakup of the band.
Yeah.
We'll say, and all I'll say is rest in peace, Louie.
Yeah. But did you ever hear the origin of the band? You probably did.
I believe I did, but I don't know it for real.
Louie, being a Quincy kid, started a group, booked a show, and then the other 3 backed out on him. So he called Jimmy because he knew. I don't know how him and Jimmy knew it. Probably because Louie had Southie roots. So.
Yeah, I knew his father.
Yeah, so
his father and my mother were good friends growing
Louie
up.
Called Jimmy, knew Jimmy could sing, and Jimmy said, "Well, Jackie and John can dance better than anyone."
Jackie got some pipes too.
Yeah, so that was how it's happened, and then he was telling a story. Jimmy used to love telling this, and I'll probably tell it wrong, so take this one with a grain of salt.
That's why you say I'm just paraphrasing.
But Jimmy's father was a cop.
Jimmy's father was a great guy.
Awesome. I loved Big Jimmy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Big Jimmy was Little Jimmy, but
loved
him. Yeah, awesome guy. And there's so many stories about him that I'd love. We got to get Jimmy in one day.
I had the pleasure to work with him.
Yeah. Was he still on when you were on?
Yeah.
Nice.
The tail end.
Okay.
When I came out, I was doing the walk and beat in Southie.
Okay.
And
I remember
he'd
that.
Drive by, he'd be like, "Hey, hop in," and we'd go get a coffee, and things. It was really cool to get to know him on that level.
Yeah. So Louie put himself into a situation, and
I remember this,
where he was in a house with maybe some ladies of the night, and some of their boyfriends came in and tried to basically rob them. Whoever Louie was with shot at them, and they ran out. And Louis passed away. I don't know anyone else who was there, so there's no snitching on anyone here. They ran out and they took off. And the next morning, Louis calls Jimmy up and says, "I need to talk to your father."
Yep, I remember that.
And says, "What do you mean?" Just let me talk to your father. And he gets Jimmy on the phone and explains to him what happened. Jimmy ran Louis' plate to see if there was anyone looking for them, and nothing came up.
Yeah.
And was like, Jimmy was just like, "And never call me with anything like this again."
Yeah.
But you're good for now.
Yeah. That's what it was a lot of times. It was like, if even just growing up in Southie.
We were 10 feet from the ladies of the night, so.
Or not even that, though. I'm talking about if something happens, there was always someone.
Right, that you could call.
Or they'd come to you or whatever.
Yeah. But I always thought that was a funny story.
And then, speaking of Southie growing up, that brings me over to some of the friends we've had on the show before that, unbeknownst to us, went training, trained in wrestling, and if we knew about it, we would have went.
Yeah, Mike Davis, who I knew Mike Davis because Mike Davis, where I hung out, he lived about a block away.
Yep.
And he used to come hide with us from people. Because Mike was a great kid. He didn't start any trouble. But for some reason,
he was a loner.
One kid in particular didn't like him. Woody.
Yeah.
And Woody, what's funny about Mike is Mike was always in shape. Mike was always built and was always big. Woody was tall but thin.
Woody wasn't even tall. He looked like Mr. Mac.
But Mike would come and hide. Ironically, Mike would come and hide with my buddy Jason.
Yeah.
who was
Smaller.
about 5'2".
if that.
So love you, Jason.
On the first step.
But Woody was cool with us. But Woody would still fight Mike if he bumped into Mike and we were there.
Yeah. But with that, too, though, I'm not saying people had credibility or clout or anything like that, but there were certain people in every group that if you were with them, whatever your beef was, it's now my beef if you want to keep it going. And Jason was one of those people.
Sometimes.
Depending on which way the wind blew.
Right. Jason, he went through his shit, his stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen, I guess he's
he owns a couple houses. And
yeah, he's doing good.
So Jason's actually, so in an odd, like, how small the world is Jason's my cousin's grandfather.
Okay.
So my cousin Paige had a kid with one of his kids. And Shannon Nee's daughter had a kid with one of his kids.
Yeah.
So it's like we're all like these are all people we all grew up with.
And that's the aspect of how we grew up. It was always like that.
Right.
It was always mixed around. It was going to go that way, one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, you could write a book on some of those names I just mentioned.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think there is a book on one or two of them.
Yeah.
But
and then you get Pat coming out starting his promotion.
Right. Yeah. And Pat trained under Walter. Pat trained under Killer Kowalski. I knew that, but I didn't think Pat was really going to do it as a kid. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because Pat was another one that, like, Pat was that kid that you just brought up. Like, he'd go anywhere and hang anywhere.
Yep.
He came with us and he hung out with, he would hang out with us when he came up this end with his brother. Because his brother hung with you guys, or he could be down his own end of Southie with his,
Yeah, and that's kind of I was like that too.
And even when those two groups beefed, which was a short while.
Yeah.
My group, Pat was never involved in that.
But in even that beef though, it wasn't like we hate you. It was something over. It was probably I fouled Sean too hard at a BNBL game. And playing basketball.
No, someone else got bullied and went and cried to the Twins.
Oh.
And the Twins brought...
I know this one.
Yeah.
He's the referee? The referee?
No, it was... So it was... I forget how it happened. No, he's still alive. I hope he's doing well. I know he had a little issue. But it was Paul McColgan.
Okay.
Paul lived near us. Used to get bullied by us a little.
Yeah.
And Paul took boxing with the Shea twins.
Yeah.
And went and got the Shea twins, who hung around with Kevin Bartel and Jimmy LeBlanc and that whole crew.
I remember.
And so that was where that all came from.
And I think that's when. I think that started the ripple effect of when it came down. We came down, they came down.
Oh, yeah.
Next thing you know, Peter and Tommy are going at it.
I never thought of it like that, but
that was all that same time frame.
But it seems to me like Peter's so much older than Tommy. But that was also two boxes that were.
That was the two Southie big time boxes that came out.
Yeah.
Other than the couple that were pulled away and secluded.
Well, you look at like Jimmy LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Jimmy LeBlanc was part of Team Mayweather.
Yeah.
And he went out and when the second he moved to Vegas, got contacted by two females here that he should probably come back and take a paternity test.
Yep. Hey,
I love Jimmy. Shout out, like, again, one of those girls happens to be my cousin, so Jimmy's one of my cousin's kids' fathers. So,
in Southie terms, he's your cousin.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
And that's what it was. It was like me and you could have an all-out brawl on a Friday night, and then Saturday we're cool.
Yeah, it happened all the time. You'd call me Saturday morning saying, "Hey, you want to come play football?"
Yes, whatever happens, and it's over with, and then we go. And you think about the dynamic of that, and I never seen it anywhere else.
Hey guys, listen. Growing up as a kid, man, Saturday mornings you had your cartoons, you had your pro wrestling on, and what made that better than a nice bowl of cereal with that ice cold milk in it. This is being brought to you today by Magic Spoon Cereal. It comes in they have a variety of flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, and peanut butter. You can mix and match. Like, you put the peanut butter with the cocoa. I highly recommend it. It's like eating a peanut butter cup. This is the pack has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs. Only 140 calories in a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low carb. It's it's delicious. It tastes just like the name brand cereals that have sugar and are loaded with all the bad stuff for you. It's just a lot better for you. So it tastes exactly like the regular cereal. It's super nutritious. It's delicious, but super healthy cereal that really brings joy to your mornings or afternoons or evenings or nights. Let's face it, a bowl of cereal is good anytime. So if you go to www.magicspoon.com/Irish to grab a variety pack and try it today, and be sure to use our promo code IRISH at checkout, and you save $5 off your order. That's magicspoon.com/Irish, and use promo code IRISH at checkout. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/Irish and use the code IRISH to save $5. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode. Yeah, not to the extent.
Yeah, like, I've never seen it where, granted, I haven't been everywhere when this group or that group was growing up, but you know what I mean. I haven't seen the dynamic of where, as close as everybody was in proximity to each other, look how many different types of people were growing up in that neighborhood.
Yep.
Everyone says Southie, Irish pride, this or that, but there was so much more than just Irish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The problem was a lot of people didn't own up to the ones who weren't Irish,
Yeah.
Like, you were out, everyone was Irish.
Yep.
And that was the thought process.
And that's the thing, like, I remember going to playing different games and even CYO, the church league basketball, there were brawls.
Oh.
Big time. And, like, when we played over in Charlestown, I forget what league it was, but we played over in Charlestown against them, they had to have a multitude of cops on site.
All depended on who the coach was, too.
Yeah.
Because, like, you'd get away with more with the Joe Kelly than you would with the Lally.
And then you get away with a lot more with Caputo. He started. I remember one.
Shout out to Mike.
He's doing big things now,
True.
so good for him.
Yeah.
If you ever need security, call us.
Well, you can't stand up.
Canine security, all right? We can do it. He'll lick him to death.
He's not a security dog. What's he gonna? The only thing he protects you from against is little mini dogs.
He protects me from falling, but
not that well.
I remember one time at a game with Mike, and I'm like, you sit by the bench, the table where the scorekeeper is when you're next to go in.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that. I'm taking my knee. I'm doing it right. And next thing I know, like, Mike's like, "Where was that foul?" The coach like, "There wasn't a foul." And him and Mike going at it. And I'm sitting there in the middle of it, and they get close to the point where, like, I'm like this, and then next thing you know, there was someone else on my team that whipped the ball off the other kid's head, and then this and that. And
you bullies.
But, the brawls we had with East Boston were fun, though.
But that was Southie.
But the best thing about that was then we went to high school, and we met all those kids on a different level.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, that was fun.
But at the same time, you might have fought them on Saturday for BMBL or CYO, and then had to play in a game with them as your teammate and pass them the ball and get an assist with them.
Yep.
On a Friday night playing for high school.
Exactly. And the dynamic of that, like, growing up in Southie, a lot of people don't realize and for those who don't know, if you listen, we're talking South Boston. I keep saying using the word dynamic, but it's the easiest way to describe the way it's very complex the way it was intermingled. Because even if you lived up the point, you had family in the projects, and everything in the middle.
Did I? My mother's family grew up in the projects.
I'm a product of the projects.
Yeah, but then your family got rich and bought a house.
No, my aunt did.
That's what,
because her husband was a firefighter.
That was the thought process in Southie. If you owned, I was never poor. I was never lower class, but we were middle class, and we weren't upper middle class. That's for sure.
We got by. We got by.
I never heard but I never knew I wasn't rich either. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was always a couple bucks to go out with. Back then, you give a kid $1, he's getting everything he needs for $1.
I might not have had the dollar to go out with, but my mother would say, "But here's an Elio's pizza.
Yeah,
you can heat it up at Jared's, or something like that."
Yeah.
Here's a funny. So,
I love you doing your mother's voice, though.
This is a Southie episode. So, a couple weeks ago, I went for a walk, and I get a text from my buddy Kenny, who he used to run Ringside Promotions up in Everett. He's an Everett cop. He gets loaned out a lot to the DEA and stuff and he'll travel. But he's an Everett cop by trade, by his employment. And he hits me up and just all it said was Jared with Jared's last name. And I said, he's a good dude. Now, Kenny does TikToks. And if you look up, it's like Sweet Kenny Kelly. And Kenny goes shopping, and the first thing he does is puts a pineapple upside down in his carriage when he goes shopping, which is a symbol. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a symbol for a certain lifestyle.
I'm looking it up.
And when he texted me the name, I said, "Oh," because the last time Kenny texted me a name was because he arrested the guy, and it was one of my customers at Home Depot. They arrested him outside of the Home Depot I worked at. And I said, "Did you meet him through the pineapples or did you meet him through the badge?" And he's like, "Neither. I was on vacation." And he had I guess they had the hotel rooms or the cabins next to each other randomly on vacation. And he's like, "I forgot to ask him if he knew you, but once he said Southie, I knew. I texted you and Pat."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh yeah, I know, Jared. I grew up with him, literally in his house every weekend."
Well, and that's the thing. You can go, if we went to California right now, L.A., and if there's somebody's going to recognize our accent, and then they're going to say, "Hey, do you know so-and-so?"
It happens every time.
Because everybody knows somebody from South or from Boston. All right, I want to know what this pineapple thing is. I'm Googling it, but it's going slow. But that's the dynamic. I mean, there was always wrestling. There was always all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. So, and we just got to talking, and he's like, "No." But he said, "Wait a minute. Are you telling me Jared's a pineapple guy?" And I was like, "I have no idea. Right. I have no idea about that." Well, let's just say Kenny's trying to go shopping for more than bread at Market Basket.
Yeah. Well, you can't catch a fish if you just throw your hook in the water.
Kenny's he was like, when I first started going to wrestling shows and helping out, he was really the first one to pay me for setting up the ring.
Yeah, I never got to that level, but then my life took another turn.
It wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
But it was something, and he would, he always took care of me, and he always bought us dinner after. He'd take us out for Chinese after and buy drinks, and even after, he sells concessions sometimes at Pat shows, and me and him almost always have a bottle on us. And it's, "Kenny, you bringing the bottle or am I?"
Both.
Yeah, we just get. Oh.
And that's the thing though with those shows. I remember going back. The only time I ever got paid, I think I got $10 for a show.
Yeah.
And
but that's all you got to understand. That's all the wrestlers got.
Yeah, and we were doing, but that was we were doing more than setup. We were doing run-ins, things like that. We had break up the crowd type of thing. Break up the.
I mean, I was at one point. NECW had the TV deal. And what Matt and Kyle were afraid because they had the TV deal with New England Cable News. Even though it got buried on, it was supposed to be on like scheduled show, and it got buried like 8 menus down on demand when On Demand first started.
I wonder if you can still find it.
They were afraid that it's out there. I like YouTube and stuff, but they were afraid that these kids that were doing ring crew for us, like parents were going to see TV show and think there was money involved. So what Matt and Kyle did was they gave me and Rob Tuttle, creep, don't look him up, a budget.
I sent you that text out there. Remember that? When I was away last week up in the mountains.
Oh, yeah. So they gave us a budget. They basically gave us both, like, might have been $150. And there were maybe 6 people on ring crew, and me and Rob would split them up and give them each $10.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you buy them a pizza. I was walking out of there with $100.
That's how
like, and Matt and Kyle knew because I had to turn in receipts for what I paid them, and they were like, "The kids are all right with this." I said, "Matt, this is all you ever paid me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right."
It's like, you mean I'm gonna set up the ring and get in the show, and you didn't give me $10?
Right.
All right.
Right, and that was a great time at NECW. Like, Eddie Edwards was there, Ivar was there as Handsome Johnny, Kofi was there at this point, Sasha was there as Mercedes KV at this point.
See, that's it. I must have mingled, but I remember I never mingled much with the wrestlers or the talent.
Me neither, but before the show there was a few people that I would sit with.
Yeah.
Handsome Johnny, Ivar, would always be good for a, hey, what's going on, JP, how you doing, a handshake, and like, he was always good for that. He was so friendly, and like, Mercedes KV was like 17 at the time, 16, and like, she was one of the ones that would sit down and like, me and her would have conversations, and like, I remember saying to her, like, you just have to get in front of them. You're good at what you do out there. You look good. You have the figure they want. You just need to get in front of somebody at WWE. And that's what she did. And I mean, she was doing it anyway. It wasn't my advice by any means. It's what she was doing.
It was more of a reassuring saying, knowing that she's on the right path.
And she did that all. Like, a lot of those guys did that with the help of Chaotic Wrestling.
Different shows coming up this weekend. She
was trained by Chaotic. She was trained by Brian Fury at Chaotic. Shout out to Brian because he's one I still support. And but Chaotic didn't do for her what they did for some of the others that got signed. In that they didn't Chaotic would put the tape together for you and send it in.
Yeah.
And Chaotic would make the call for you. They didn't think she was ready because she was so new, and she was, and she probably could have used a little time. But
then you look at people who have never trained.
But she did it so well.
Doing it.
She does it so well.
But speaking of Chaotic, real quick, they get the Boston Brawl, May 27th, 7:30 p.m. doors, 8 p.m. show, the Excel Academy, 401 Bremen Street, Boston, Mass. And you're gonna see Alec Price versus Brad.
Oh, that's in East Boston. That's at the high school.
Maybe we should go.
That's what day is it?
Friday, the 27th.
I have a concert.
Oh, all right.
You should go.
But they also have coming up. They'll be in Tewksbury on June 3rd.
I want to talk about.
Which would be the next.
Coming up June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium, Wilmington, Mass. This is something I've been waiting years for. My buddy Joey Cav, who will be on the show hopefully next week, but I can't promise that. is running a show. Joe ran some huge shows in Wilmington before in the same building under the WFC. And he's had the likes of Dana White in there, the Tap Out guys in there. Most of the Celtics, Big Baby Shaq. He had Rampage in for a show.
That's cool.
Like, all in the audience. But then he had guys like Danny Lauzon, who's fought for the UFC, fighting for him.
Yeah.
Steve Mays has coached a bunch of the guys that have been there. And he rebranded. It's Combat FC 1. Combat FC being the name, Combat FC 1 being the name of the show. June 17th, the Wilmington Shrine is Campbell versus Guerrero, not Eddie, not Chavo. Welterweight belt, and he's got he always does big stuff. Joe doesn't mess around, and it's gonna be a good show. Like, this place holds, like, I think probably 5,000-6,000 people, and he sold it out.
Nice.
Not for this show, so there's still tickets for this show. I'm saying in the past.
Yeah. Well, let's mark our calendars now.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I'm there as security.
All right. I'll just...
dependent on my situation.
Yeah. I'll come... Oh, yeah, I know it. But I'll come hang out.
What up? That's going to be Blackheart. Keeps kicking me off. Say hey to Blackheart.
Hey, Blackheart. How you doing?
What's up, Blackheart? What's going on, buddy? What up, fellas? What up, Blackheart?
Salute.
I talked to the real Yeti.
The real
in a text.
Huh. What's he up to?
Let's see. Let's read it.
Is he ready to make an appearance back with us?
I don't know. He was supposed to call me tonight, actually. He, where is it?
Be good to have him
He
back
said,
on.
baseball games, soccer games, and tours for the school nonstop last 2 weeks. I'll call you tonight.
All right.
Finally have some free time. Well, Josh, it's Tuesday. Let's see.
Hey, you know what, though? Reach out when you can reach out. That's all we can do.
I gotta see something. This is something we would do.
Yeah.
He told me he was going to call me tonight, and he hasn't yet.
I'll be quiet.
Oh, you can talk. I got to tell him he's on the air.
Hey, what's up, dude?
What's up? Is this Josh Richards?
The original Yeti?
You're live on the air of the Irish Whip.
Really? I'm at work dropping off kids, and I'm live. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Amazing.
yeah.
I can't say anything that is abrasive or mean at all right now.
But yet you just said you were dropping the kids off at the pool. Is there going to be a video?
No.
I was just reading your text, giving a little. So I want to tell you, Josh, can you confirm that you're the original Josh Yeti of pro wrestling podcasting?
I'm the only.
So there's another Josh now out of Texas that calls himself Cyber Yeti.
Well, the first problem is he's from Texas. Texas doesn't count.
He's a part of one of our little, the podcast that we're friendly with. But I tell him he's not the OG.
No, there's only one.
That's it.
I'm like the Highlander, dude. There can be only one.
So what's going on in life? Update the Irish Whip. Update the mob on what's going on.
Fans have been asking about you.
What?
People have been asking about you.
Who is?
People who listen.
Well, yeah, I mean, they all know your 50th birthday was the other day.
No, I'm not 50. I'm 29.
Yeah, bull.
29-ish.
29. Yeah.
29 plus 29. His 29th birthday.
Well, hold on.
His 29th birthday just turned 21.
If he's 29 and we knew him when he first started, that's so wrong on our part.
Sorry. It's
His-
jumping down rain, and I have kids standing outside waiting in the line asking to go in.
His 29th birthday just turned 21.
Yeah. I only stay out until 2 a.m. one time a year, and that was it. This was it.
But happy birthday, Josh. I know it was just, last week or something?
Yes. No,
So,
it was Saturday.
when-
Last week.
I'll give you a big birthday kiss when I see you.
When are you coming back?
To where?
To the Irish Whip?
I don't know. When am I coming back?
Come on, fam.
Huh?
Come on, fam.
Whenever, bro.
So Off the Top Ropes podcast, Blackheart, who's like their host, their sort of do everything, said let them know our Yeti is bionic.
It's what?
They say their Yeti is bionic. I thought he said moronic.
It sounds more like moronic. He's got the.
You know what's funny is the stuff you guys. I got to get you with this kid because it'd be like the. You ever see that Spider-Man cartoon where there's two Spider-Mans and they're pointing at each other?
Yeah, they don't know what to do.
Because the other Josh Yeti is also a teacher.
You hear all the kids?
Like the similarity, yes. Is that my man?
Yeah, it should really scare the world that I'm an early childhood educator.
Is that Jax over there?
Yeah, Jax is right here.
What's up, Jax?
Here, say hi to Jakey.
Hi, Chippy.
What's up, dude? How are you?
I was waiting at school. Or about this way.
Oh yeah. Are you gonna open up the John Cena's when you go home?
Oh, Patriots suck.
Patriots talk.
That's not. Do the Steelers have a quarterback or a coach?
Who, me?
Do the Steelers have a quarterback or a coach?
Yeah, he's got the smallest hands in NFL history.
Yes.
Do they still exist? What about that team from Montana? What's that?
Yeah, do you realize, like, this will be the first time that my son actually watches a Steelers game where Ben Roethlisberger hasn't been a quarterback?
I was wow. And that's not Jax. That's wow.
You know what? Though, I'll be honest with that. I've never watched this. I've never watched a Steelers game.
Now, oh,
We want you back on, buddy.
iconic meaning he's an icon, like Sting is an icon.
It's like special occasions and events. No, the
That's
hardest
it.
part for me is like going to school full time and working and establishing relationships with family and with kids is like something that I've always dreamed and wanted to do. And getting able, and you guys letting me be able to do that is paying off big. So I have. Oh my gosh, I have. Be good. See, I just got called a loser. This is the kid. See there, Jackson's calling me a loser now.
And by the way, this is like true Irish whip stuff. We were just talking about you, and I picked up my phone and called you.
Yeah.
Didn't say nothing to Joe. Just started dialing.
We've done that many times before.
True.
It's like an Anthony Green call.
There he is. That's the Easter egg. Still going strong. He won't do the show anymore.
What?
He won't do the show.
He's too cool.
He's only done one podcast since his release, and it was Antonio's. Yeah. So.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, they didn't talk wrestling. They talked collectibles and stuff. So it's a little different.
Well, what about wrestling collectibles? You can do the both.
Well, that's what they talked about. That's all Anthony collects.
Yeah. I saw the video with his T-shirts.
Yeah, the last one he showed.
Yeah.
The last. So Anthony's got about 500 T-shirts, and the last one he showed on his video was the Autism 316 shirt that he still has.
I still have
I
mine.
think it'd be more interesting to figure out how many pictures, what pictures he doesn't have with wrestlers, other than the ones that he does have pictures with.
I know. I think I'm giving something away next week.
Yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
I think I might give away a Danhausen autograph.
I'll say one of your pairs of sneakers.
No, don't even joke like that.
Just saying.
It's not funny.
A little bit.
There's a sneaker convention in Boston this week, and I wish I could. If I wasn't going to Worcester, if I wasn't going to the concert, I'd go.
The first time I've actually wanted to watch pro wrestling is when I saw Edge and Rhea Ripley together.
And you're still an Edge mark to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that group is amazing.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, maybe I'll start tuning in, but I'm still waiting for. I don't know, man. You know how just like I do.
I don't watch it. Yeah, I watch the pay-per-views, and that's about it.
And I watch it. I watch it if I'm alone.
I'm always alone.
Yeah.
You guys should watch it together. Then you wouldn't be alone.
Can we hold hands?
We can do it over Zoom.
Can we? Hold on. This is going to make Josh uncomfortable. Can we watch it the same way that
When you lay in
who's
bed,
Dick
no.
Strings? Who's Dick Strings?
You guys both got your wife beaters on and you're through the rooms.
Who's Dick Strings?
New Japan Pro Wrestling, Chris Dickinson.
Yes. Can we watch it the same way Chris Dickinson was interviewed by us?
He was in bed naked. That was the most awkward interview ever.
That's awesome.
It was only awkward for you. Like Josh gets awkward if we do a Zoom call and I'm in a wife beater,
Well,
which
I get awkward
is
with
a
that.
T-shirt.
Yeah, you might have side boobs sticking out.
But Dickinson had, like, you could only see the top, and he at least had no shirt on. Like, I don't think he owns too many shirts. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how he walks around. He's that New York bodybuilder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we weren't sure he had pants on through the whole thing. It was, and Josh
There's no way.
Josh almost hung up.
Maybe we can watch it while dogging.
No, I'm not docking with you.
And then 9 a.m. in the morning. Like, that was like, what? I think that's the only one we ever did in the morning.
No, Wheeler
Yeah, Wheel Yuta.
Wheeler Yuta was, he wanted to do it at like 8 a.m. or something.
Whatever works, they say we can record.
So, but Josh, I just wanted to check in on you, man. It's been a while. So, Chris, Rucka said, "What's up,
I love
bud?"
you guys, and I love you guys, and I miss you guys, and I can't tell you how grateful I am for you guys letting me chase my dream and get it settled to a point where I finally have my feet on the ground with some good people, and I miss everybody, man. I miss doing it. I miss being a part of it. I miss that, but I know the distance makes it so tough because it's easier for you guys to be in studio and there, and you guys hear that?
That's the rain.
That's Montana right there.
Yep.
You know what you don't want in Montana is a wife beater because you get your ass whooped.
By who?
By the other wife beaters.
Oh, get out of
But,
here.
like you said, that it's tough with the distance and all that. Now that we're in the studio and things like that, but you know what? You're only a phone call away.
Right. We have a phone in studio if I can figure out how to use it.
Yeah, you just gotta pick it up when they call.
All right,
Yeah.
so you can figure out how to use it
I
then.
have no idea what to do.
Right.
I think you pressed the button over there.
All right, go have a good show, man. I miss you guys. I love you guys.
All right. Love you
All right,
too,
love you
Josh.
too, brother.
Bye. So that was the return of Josh Yeti Richards, guys.
The original Yeti, not Cyber Yeti, not made up
The
Yeti.
iconic.
That's like the way you
Not
look
the-
at it is like our Yeti is Godzilla. Off the Top Ropes Yeti is Mecha Godzilla.
Nowhere near as cool.
Nowhere near as cool and falls apart very easily.
Mecha did fall apart easily. Yeah, that's so. You know what I watch for wrestling content? Is I watch Ethan Page's toy hunts. Ethan Page is like a huge toy collector. AEW Ethan Page, and as they're touring, what he'll do is he'll grab guys like Danhausen or he's done it with Powerhouse Hobbs and guys from the AEW locker room or girls. Like he's done it with Nyla Rose. And they'll go to they'll find a local toy store, like a hobby toy store, not a Toys R Us. And they'll go shopping, and then it shows what they've all bought, what they all collect. It's pretty cool.
I was in an old store like that, but it was for books. I bought a couple of books over the weekend.
You gotta learn how to read?
No, it was, well, one of them is, Aesop's Fables.
Oh, yeah.
One of them was, it was the Aesop's Fables. It was printed in, it's old, over 100 years old. And, well, just about 100 years old. Maybe it was printed in the 20s, But it was written the way it should be
That would
written.
be 100 years old.
Ish. But it was written for adults.
Right.
Not the child version that you see things out today.
Yeah, so it's like the Grimm's Tales.
Yeah. So I got that, and I got another book on folklore, and I got a really cool book called Grandfather Tales. And all it is tales that you would be passed down from generation to generation.
You know what my father... So I'll tell you a grandfather tale from my father's point of view.
All right.
South Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Farragut Park.
Mm-hmm.
The statue.
Uh-huh.
Does it make sense that Farragut, a French soldier, has a statue in South Boston?
Yeah, not at all.
Do you know why it's there?
Somebody messed up.
Well, according to my grandfather, well, my great-grandfather, actually, my father's grandfather, who I never met, the ship sank.
What?
The ship sank.
Ship sank.
I said the ship sank.
Yep.
But
I was going to let that go.
The ship sank right there, and they dragged it up to the land. The true story is, he was an American soldier.
Was he American soldier?
Yeah.
But it was supposed to be originally down in South Carolina or something, right?
According to my father, it was New Orleans, the French quarters.
New Orleans.
But
I'm
that's
not
not the
sorry.
case. It was literally meant for South Boston the whole time. And my father got a book about South Boston, and it sort of ruined everything his grandfather ever told him.
But that's still debatable, though, because it all depends on where you look and who you're talking to. And
Yeah, so that's a little grandfather tale for you.
I love how you're getting ready. Oh, that's not the camera you're using. All right.
No, this kept shutting off for some reason, so I
Yeah.
switched to the laptop camera. So
Yeah, so we're going to change things up a little bit, right?
yeah, I don't
In
think
the
we're gonna
future?
go live. Not so much anyway. Maybe once in a while. Honestly, we appreciate every bit of support that we get from everybody out there. So
Absolutely.
whether you're a Bobby D or you're a Joe in Indiana that
Yep.
listens to us, we love you and we appreciate you because this is stuff we never thought would happen.
We
the
never
way it
thought
is.
this would happen.
But the live just doesn't do much to enhance the show
Mhm.
anymore. The equipment that we use for the live isn't as good as the equipment we record with.
And the sound levels are off.
We want everybody to get the best quality. So the live will be once in a while. Like tonight we went live, and the main reason we do it is for the banter. For tonight we had Blackheart chiming in
Yep.
from Off the Top Ropes podcast,
He has a lisp.
WrestleNary,
WrestleNary's
and
fun.
so many other. Yeah,
I'll give him that. WrestleNary's really
you gave
fun.
him your D on the WrestleNary.
Hmm?
You gave him your big D on WrestleNary,
I did.
and they said we don't have big Ds.
No. Irish curse.
And what WrestleNary is, for those who don't know, is it's a multiple choice quiz show that Blackheart of Off the Top
There's
Ropes
There's
podcast
a board
hosts.
game of a similar name, and it kind of plays off
So-
of that.
They so and it's pretty fun, because sometimes they do a whole show of questions that a preschooler that's watched a single episode of Monday Night Raw could answer,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have us on, and we apparently got the
Harvard
advanced
PhD.
doctorate version.
I think I got one question right.
I don't think I did.
But I think it was only because I might have copied you. You put first or something.
Also, guys, so we mentioned Combat FC 1. I want to talk about real quick the something Mike Carlo talked about here, the Elite Pro Wrestling Academy.
Yes, I've been seeing some pictures of that come along. It's looking really good.
Looking awesome. And we're in that group with Mike, which is a sort of a wrestling training group.
It's a privilege.
And you got some good, I actually printed out one of the sayings that we get in there, that they post in there. I printed it out in a little meme form, and I hung it up in work for everyone to see, and it was Larry King quote saying, "I never learned anything while I was talking." So...
That's so true, and all we do is talk.
And I think everybody needs to, kind of take that in. So I said to my boss, can I print this out and hang it in the back? Because... everybody needs to hear that every once in a while.
Yeah. So that's the problem with a lot of things that are going around these days is that no matter how much you think you're in the right in that situation, sometimes you just got to shut up and listen. And with that, then again, going along on the not going live anymore, doing the recording and uploading. Might hear different episodes, different styles, different things. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll give
Changing things up a little. Still being wrestling, keeping our base in wrestling.
Right, but we've
changing
always
things up a little.
You know, me and you had this conversation, and I had the same answer you did. Somebody asked me why we don't do like one of those lifestyle podcasts, and I said, "Well, I kind of do. We just kind of talk about wrestling too."
Yeah,
because we talk.
Like lifestyle, we just talked about Southie for an hour.
Yes,
about how we grew up and what it is, and
although the clickbait title of this is going to be "The Return of the Real Yeti."
Yeah, the real Yeti.
I'm so glad he answered. And we even got Jax.
Yep,
Jax is his.
Jax told you suck.
No, he told me the Patriots suck, and he's wrong.
Well, I don't know.
There's no accounting for taste.
I don't follow sports.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you got?
I like watching sci-fi TV shows and made-up monsters and ghosts and aliens. Love watching Ancient Aliens. I'm trying to get Giorgio Tsoukalos on the show.
Who?
The guy that does Ancient Aliens.
Why don't we get Eugene on the show? Do you think that could happen?
Eugene?
Yeah.
Eugene from wrestling? Eugene?
No.
Walking Dead Eugene?
Yeah, Eugene.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, it wasn't the Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, Big Daddy. We met two weeks ago. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A couple weeks
me
ago.
off a second.
I don't think we did a show last week. So a couple weeks ago, we met Eugene.
Big Dad, Eugene Clark. I think
Big Daddy from the
from the George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, and we also met. I didn't realize how long he was in pro wrestling for. Tyler Mane.
Yeah,
he wrestled Andre the Giant in Japan. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So that means he was in wrestling for like decades.
While. Yeah. And now
because Andre's Japan time was before the WWE time.
And now he's making movies. He was Sabretooth in the X-Men.
And just so I can sort of tag them in this, every podcast has given their information, given their and I'm not going to give mine on this, but I just want to say their name so I can tag them in it. Sasha Banks. Mm-hmm. Because with what's going on, I don't want to comment on what I think is going on because I don't know.
We don't know for sure. I mean, I know all I know about it is what happened.
I'm hoping for
I don't need to know why.
I'm hoping, and things point to me in the direction I think. I'll tell you. You know what it is, so you can call me out if I'm wrong when I tell people at the end what my opinion was. And I'll stick to my opinion on what I feel should happen. And again, you can call me out if I change that, but I'm not going to say what they are publicly.
Yeah, no, I know what they are, and if it ever comes out, and it's one of those things where it's one of those like if you know type things,
right?
If you know, if you don't, you're gonna keep watching to find out.
So shout out to QATV, shout out to Spotify,
shout out to Keg,
shout out to
shout
out to Spreaker. The Spreaker app.
Shout out StreamYard.
No, shout out to StreamYard. But yeah,
shout out to Off the Top Ropes podcast.
That's it.
And some of those other guys out there that are pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a couple good podcasts out there. But that's all I got for this week.
Yeah, and then same here, and like we said earlier, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
That's it.
See you next Tuesday.